For a recent screening of unrestored Dalek film prints at Riverside Studios, I was invited to introduce each of the episodes with my own observations about things to look out for and interesting facts. In preparation for this, I watched each of the episodes for the 27th time, and I thought I might share what I observed here on this channel. These are all purely visual issues relating to production problems. We're not talking script changes, line fluffs, or anything else we'd gleaned from the paperwork. The very first word in this episode is missing. The mechanoid you're about to see should say 800. This error occurs because the audio of the reprise of the previous episode does not fade in at exactly the right moment. This was altered on the DVD release and subsequent Blu-ray release to paste in the word 8 from episode 5. In this footage from episode 5, you'll see a lineup from left to right of Ian, Vicky, then Barbara and the Doctor. As soon as it cuts to the following week's videotape recording for episode 6, the arrangement of the four characters has completely changed. The actors are also stationary for a couple of seconds before taking their cue to move into the lift. Make a mental note of this camera angle, which is roughly at shoulder height. The first Dalek you'll see is the repainted black Dalek from the Dalek Invasion of Earth, and the easiest way to recognise this prop is the distinctive large block of wood on the middle neck ring. After this Dalek delivers its orders, its lights flash 2 more times even after it's stopped speaking. When the lift door opens, we get a clear shot of the rectangular hole cut in the wall of the set, which is called a camera trap, and that's the aperture that allowed the earlier shoulder height shot, because a camera will not fit in the lift shaft. Here is a very noticeable shadow of a boom mic. Where did Stephen get all the beautifully cut timber to make that thing? In the next shot, the shutters are supposed to ping from a closed position to rotate 90 degrees to an open position, but instead they rotate 180 degrees, which means they're basically still closed. The stagehands then very slowly try to reorientate the shutters so that the camera can eventually see through them as intended. The Dalek with this electrode unit had recently been used in the Space Museum to record a scene in which its dome flipped up to reveal the Doctor hiding inside. This required a hinge on the back of the dome, which has been removed again by the time of this recording. However, the holes for mounting the hinge were not filled in, so as this Dalek moves into the lift, you can clearly see 4 holes in the back of the dome where the hinge was mounted. As this Dalek comes to rest, the operator releases his grip on the inside of the shoulders, and they drop back down slightly. The Dalek in the foreground has a broken slat on its shoulder section, which was a constant problem throughout the filming of this story. It's safe to assume that the shutters here should slam shut and stop us being able to see through, but Maureen O'Brien looks awkwardly through the open gap. As the camera tracks in this shot, it hits something rather violently and causes the picture to wobble. There is some kind of crack noise. You will be annihilated! And if you look carefully, you will see this accompanies a white flash in the background. It's a pyrotechnic effect that shouldn't have gone off, but it's fascinating to see and hear. It has been deleted from the DVD release and the Blu-ray. Dalek audio is cued too early here, as he announces he is totally immobilized before the mechanoid gets his arms around him. Totally immobilized! When Stephen lets go of the rope, followed by Ian, then the Doctor is supposed to be the only person holding Vicky on the line, but as you can see here, he lets it go completely slack. Another mistimed shot where Peter Purvis stands for a couple of moments before then springing into action through the smoke. Another bit of overly vigorous Dalek movement causes the casing to split and fall in the middle here. In this shot we get a very clear view of one of the actors' marks, a mark for either the fungoids or the Daleks due to the curved edge. As Barbara moves, we get a shot of another actor's mark, which looks like a T-shape. William Hartnell is just pretending to have climbed down, obviously. But when the camera pans up too far, we get a very clear shot of William Russell's legs dangling, waiting to be cued into shot, and his arrival down the rope is not him climbing, but being lowered by someone off-screen. The waft of air caused by the fungoid moving here causes the jungle to ripple, almost as if this undergrowth is painted fabric. In the photo montage for Ian and Barbara's return home, we see the only real police box ever shown on screen in Doctor Who. And here we end on the slightly unnerving fact that the Doctor can spy on anyone he chooses at any point in history. The TARDIS dematerialization here is a model shot and uses exactly the same background as when the Daleks' time machine disappeared, and also of note is the fact that this model is quite different to the real police box, most notably with a very large, very visible St. John Ambulance logo, which on the real prop had by this point almost disappeared. And it can be compared with the next visual effects shot, which is a photo cut out of the real prop spinning through space, and they look quite different. And that concludes our analysis of The Chase, Planet of Decision. If you've enjoyed this somewhat different form of video, please let us know in the comments, and tell us of any visual quirks we might have missed.